I told Cordish I wouldn't support a publicly funded arena. So they're kind of doing their thing. Nothing's really happening, and because I'm not really having a vote on anything. So then the Finley family comes in and says they want to partner up with Cordish to take a look at an arena. And it's a great family here in town. And I said, okay, I'll give you a shot. I voted to allow them to partner up with Cordish and see what they came up with. And what they came up with was a publicly funded arena.
A couple of things I want to point out, and certainly for Mayor Pro Tem's benefit. This is funded by visitors. This isn't funded out of yours and my pocket or your constituents' pocket. Ms. Brentwell, you'll back me up, I'm sure, in regards to the funding for this mechanism. This is a non-binding act we're going to do here today. And I don't agree wholeheartedly with Mayor Pro Tem in regards that nothing's going to change. I believe things can change. That's how negotiations operate, and that's how negotiations work. This is the fundamental framework of moving forward with this discussion.
Is going to change between today and the final document. It's going to be a publicly funded arena. And you know, Betsy and Bill and your staff, I mean, when we said go ahead and work with Cordish and Finley to come up with a final product, I mean, you guys worked your butts off. You did a yeoman's job. You negotiated whatever you could negotiate, which is a publicly funded arena. But nothing's going to change between today and the final document. It's going to be a publicly funded arena.
Less about this stadium, it's more about getting our own team. Remember, just a few short weeks ago, a little league, 12-year-old little league team called Mountain Ridge. Where did you see them? At the World Series. And that's what I think I really want to see in this community is our own team, our own bragging rights, our own colors. Is blue the color? I guess so.
But nothing's going to change between today and the final document. It's going to be a publicly funded arena.
I want to talk about, we talk about risk, and I know my other colleagues are going to talk about risk as well. We took a risk on City Hall. We took a risk on Symphony Park. I mean, we think we took a risk on the Rural Brain Institute. We took a big risk just on Symphony Park as a whole. We're taking a big risk. Today we voted on going out for bonds for a parking garage. We took a risk. It's what we do.
Tremendous amount of money, and we've invested it in the sewer and electrical sidewalks in Symphony Park, thinking at the time we borrowed it that just 3 months later we'd sell all those parcels and have a big pile of cash. We could pay that debt back and we'd have some working capital to further develop the city. Well, it didn't go that way. And today we carry about a $2 million a year interest cost, cash out of pocket, that's very specifically associated with Symphony Park. And so my interest is in figuring out how to get us out from under that as quickly as possible.
We took a risk. It's what we do.
Years.
Thank you, Your Honor. I'm just hitting send here to our clerk and the other members. One of my constituents in Ward 2 is Guy Hobbs, who's been a veteran of local government. I asked him to take a look at the best information we had available, and you can all read his letter. It's in your inboxes, but I'm going to just read some of couple of the conclusions. Perhaps the most concerning aspect of this proposal is the lack of a detailed pro forma, showing all the assumptions bearing on the financial prospects of this proposal. While such a pro forma may exist, it has not been made available for review by those interested in or affected by this proposal. Since the city is placing itself in a position of risk with this transaction, it will be prudent for all involved to have a complete review of all assumptions by as many sets of eyes as possible. The skeletal pieces of information that we have to date do not provide an appropriate foundation for analyzing the reasonableness of the proposal or the level of risk the city is assuming if it were to move forward.
We took a risk. It's what we do. Mr. Abrams, maybe you can help me on or maybe Mr. Finley on their investment, not ours. I'm looking at 146.2 million.
Yes, sir.
I mean, it's not change you find in the couch. That's still a huge chunk of money that these folks are willing to put on the table to make this a reality. $146 million. I want that money. I want that money.
A word about suckers. In this case, the suckers are Las Vegas taxpayers. And boy, do city officials want to prove P.T. Barnum was right. According to a story by Joe Schoeneman in the Las Vegas Sun, the city has drawn up a plan that would put taxpayers on the hook for 75% of the cost of a new downtown stadium. Developers will only have to pay $44 million out of about $200 million price tag. Now, of course, city officials unleashed the damage control after Schoeneman dug up the documents. Nothing's final, negotiations ongoing. Don't panic. The funniest part of the story was that the focus was on a $29 million funding gap in this model. That is, they still have to come up with that much money to get to the number estimated as the stadium's cost. And does anyone think that number won't go up? Funding gap? How about credibility cap? As I've said before, I think it would be great if Major League Sports came to Vegas. Long overdue. But there was no chance that taxpayers should foot this bill, no matter how the mayor and council spin it. It's just bonds. It's sales tax revenue. It's from a development fund. It's also a scam. You can't issue bonds. You can't take sales tax revenue without pilfering it from other needs. You know, like schools and roads. If the Finley family or anyone else wants to pay for a new gleaming stadium downtown, I'm all for it. But if city officials vote to get taxpayers to pony up, voters should start the recall petitions right away.
I want that money.